If you want to know why your teeth keep looking darker every year, even though you brush twice a day, do not blame your coffee and do not blame your age. Look at what your grandmother kept in a little clay jar above the stove. That one dusty mixture could be the difference between stained teeth and the smile you had at 30. Pull up a chair, my friend. The sage is drying in the window and the kettle is warm. Now, I am going to be honest with you. What I am about to share today could give you back something most folks my age have quietly grieved, a smile they are not ashamed to show in photographs. I have watched neighbors stop laughing with their mouths open. I have seen women cover their teeth with their hands at Sunday supper. And the dentists, bless them, they are not hiding anything. They are simply not trained to tell you what lives in your kitchen cupboard. They have 15 minutes with you and a list of procedures that cost thousands. So the old knowledge, the free knowledge, the knowledge that actually works from the inside out, it never makes it into that chair. My name is Wellness Maddie, and for over 40 years, I have tended my apothecary in the high desert hills of northern New Mexico. My mother taught me, and her mother before her, Italian country women who kept their teeth strong on garden food and a handful of pantry staples. I learned the rest from the curanderas of Taos and the old seed keepers of Santa Fe. My grandmother used to tell me, the mouth is the front door of the belly, and all disease begins in the belly. She said, if you want a bright smile, you do not start with the teeth. You start with the terrain that feeds them. Modern folks now talk about the oral microbiome, the gum line, inflammation pathways. The laboratories are finally catching up to what my grandmother mixed in her little clay jar long before anyone wrote it down. My mother did this simple mix. Her mother did this. 7 generations of women in our family line kept their teeth into their 80s, and in all those generations, I can count on one hand the number who lost a front tooth to staining or decay. The women who taught me in Taos had the same story. Researchers came to our village last spring with their notebooks asking about oral health in elders, and they found what my grandmother already knew. The old ways worked. No dentures, no veneers, just 3 things from the kitchen. Now, love, I have to tell you, one of these 3 ingredients is going to surprise you. Most folks, maybe 9 out of 10, know the first 2 and use them wrong. But the third, the one my grandmother whispered to me when I was 14, changes everything, and the order matters. Stay with me to the end of this video because the sequence is what makes the magic work. Before we go further, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me your age and tell me how long it has been since you truly smiled in a photograph without thinking about your teeth. I read every single comment on this channel, and your answers shape every video I make for you. So here is what I am going to walk you through. The quiet reason your teeth have darkened and why whitening strips actually make it worse. The 3-ingredient mix that has been passed through 7 generations of our women. The exact way to prepare it, the exact order to apply it, and the small detail about temperature that most folks miss. And finally, the 4 daily habits that keep the stains from ever coming back. One quick favor, sister. If you are not yet subscribed, take 2 seconds and tap that bell. Not for me. For the grandmother in Ohio who has not smiled in a decade. For the man in Florida who covers his teeth when he laughs. The more folks who find this channel, the more of the old knowledge I can share. That is all. Let me start with the problem because you need to understand it before the fix will make sense. The enamel on your teeth is not a dead shell. It is a living crystalline matrix made mostly of hydroxyapatite, the same mineral your bones are built from. Think of it like a woven basket, tight and polished when you are young, but with tiny gaps that widen a little each year. When you drink coffee, red wine, black tea, or anything with dark pigments, those molecules, called chromogens, slip into the gaps and settle there. Over 40 or 50 years, they stack up layer after layer, which is why your teeth have that yellow-brown cast, even when they are perfectly clean. Here is the hard truth about aging teeth. After 60, your saliva production drops by nearly 40%. Saliva is your mouth's own cleaning crew. It carries minerals back to the enamel, washes away acid, and keeps the stain molecules from sticking. When saliva thins, stains grab on and hold. This is why whitening strips and bleaching gels fail for most older folks. They strip the top layer of enamel, which feels like progress for a week, but then the deeper stains rise up faster than before, and the enamel underneath is thinner and more vulnerable. You end up worse than where you started. The old seed keepers understood this without ever using the word enamel. They said, "You cannot scrub a stain out of a basket. You have to lift it out gently and then rebuild the weave." That is exactly what this 3-ingredient mix does. Now let me tell you about Eleanor, 73, a retired school teacher from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. She came to my kitchen last autumn almost in tears. She had spent over $2,000 on dental whitening treatments over 3 years. Her teeth were darker than when she started, and her gums were so sensitive she could not eat a cold apple. What was overlooked was that she was acid eroding her enamel faster than her saliva could rebuild it. I sent her home with the 3-ingredient mix and the sequence I am about to share with you. By week 12, her front teeth had lifted several shades lighter. Her gums stopped bleeding. She sent me a photograph at Christmas, smiling wide, and the note said, "Maddie, I have not shown my teeth in a picture since I was 59. Thank you for giving me back my face." So here is the mix. The first ingredient is baking soda. Not the whitening kind from the drugstore, just plain aluminum-free baking soda from the baking aisle. It is mildly alkaline, which neutralizes the acid that lets stains stick, and its crystalline structure is soft enough to polish enamel without scratching it. My grandmother kept a tin of it next to the salt. The second ingredient is fresh lemon zest, not the juice. This is where most folks go wrong. They squeeze lemon juice onto their teeth and wonder why their enamel dissolves. The zest, the outer yellow peel, contains D-limonene and small amounts of citric acid bound to fiber, which releases slowly and gently. It lifts chromogen stains out of the enamel's tiny gaps without the acid attack of straight juice. You grate the zest fresh from an organic lemon the morning you use it. The third ingredient, the one I promised would surprise you, is a small pinch of food-grade activated charcoal mixed with a pinch of dried sage leaf, ground fine. The charcoal is porous at a microscopic level, and it binds to pigment molecules the way a magnet binds to iron filings. The sage is the secret, my grandmother whispered to me. Sage leaf is naturally antibacterial. It soothes inflamed gums, and more importantly, it stimulates saliva production. Remember, saliva is the cleaning crew. The sage wakes it up. Here is how you prepare it, and the temperature detail matters. In a small glass bowl, mix 1 teaspoon of baking soda with a half teaspoon of fresh lemon zest and a pinch each of charcoal and ground sage. Add just enough warm water, not hot, warm, about 100 degrees, to make a soft paste. Warm water activates the sage oils. Hot water destroys them. Cold water leaves the lemon zest inert. You apply this with a soft toothbrush, not your regular firm one. Gentle circular motions, 2 minutes, then let it sit on your teeth for 60 seconds without scrubbing. That resting minute is what pulls the stains out. Then rinse with warm water. Do this 3 mornings a week, not daily. Your enamel needs recovery days. In the first week, you will notice less film on your teeth when your tongue runs across them. By the end of the first month, the yellow cast begins to soften at the edges. By 3 months, the shift is visible in photographs. It is never a dramatic overnight change, love. It is a quiet, steady restoration, the way the old ways always work. Let me pause here for a moment, because this connects to something my neighbors ask me about all the time. This mixture works on the outside of your teeth, but a bright smile after 60 is built from the inside too. My grandmother used to say, "A mouthful of strong teeth grows from a belly full of living things." After 60, we lose about 40% of the beneficial bacteria in our gut, and the oral microbiome, the good bacteria in your mouth, is fed by the gut microbiome. If the belly terrain is depleted, your gums inflame more easily, your saliva thins faster, and stains grab harder. Probiotics alone will not solve this. They need prebiotic fiber to feed them and postbiotics, the actual healing compounds the bacteria produce, to do the work in the tissues. It is like a garden. You cannot plant seeds without soil. You cannot expect fruit without both. What I have landed on, after years of watching my folks struggle with capsules and powders, is a little gummy called BoochBod. It is the only thing I have found that brings all three together: the prebiotic fiber, the lactospore probiotic, and the postbiotics LM1004 postbiotic in one simple chew. It also contains dandelion root and slippery elm, two plants my grandmother kept in her hill garden for generations. Over 30,000 folks are already using it daily. A gummy, not a pill, which my older neighbors appreciate more than I can say. The link is in the description if you want to take a look. Please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement, as always. Now let me share the 4 supporting habits that keep this working. These are brief, but they matter. First, oil pulling with a tablespoon of cold-pressed coconut oil every morning before you brush. Swish for 10 minutes. It pulls bacteria and pigment from between teeth where no brush reaches. The old women in our family called it the morning sweep. Second, rinse your mouth with warm salt water after your evening meal. A half teaspoon of sea salt in warm water, swished for 30 seconds, spat out. It balances the pH in your mouth overnight so saliva can rebuild enamel while you sleep. Third, chew on a fresh parsley sprig after coffee or tea. The chlorophyll binds to the staining molecules before they can settle. My grandmother grew parsley on the windowsill for exactly this reason. Fourth, drink 1 glass of water with a pinch of mineral-rich sea salt first thing in the morning. It stimulates saliva production for the entire day and helps your body hold on to the calcium that rebuilds enamel. And now, my friend, we arrive at the most important part, the master principle my grandmother taught me, the one that makes everything else work. She called it the quiet rebuilding. She said, the body at 70 still remembers how to repair itself. It has just forgotten how to find the materials. Give it the materials and the repair happens without effort. The materials for your teeth are 3. Mineral-rich saliva, a balanced oral terrain, and the gentle lifting of surface stains. The 3-ingredient mix lifts. The supporting habits balance. The belly feeds the whole system from underneath. I have watched this restore smiles in women who had given up. I have watched a man of 81 regrow enamel that 2 dentists had told him was gone forever. Not because of one miracle mixture, but because the body finally had what it needed. Let me share Harold, 78, a retired bridge builder from Bozeman, Montana. He came to me ashamed of his yellow teeth, certain he would need dentures within the year. What was overlooked was his dry mouth, which his doctor had blamed on aging. We started him on the mix 3 mornings a week, the oil pulling and the warm salt rinse. Within 10 weeks, his saliva returned, his gums firmed up, and his teeth lifted almost 2 shades. He wrote me a letter by hand, which I still keep above my kitchen sink. He said, "Maddie, my granddaughter told me yesterday I looked 10 years younger. I have not felt this in a long time." Now let me give you a few insider principles I have learned after 40 years of watching what actually works. First, consistency over intensity. Doing the mix 3 times a week for a year will give you better results than doing it every day for a month and then stopping. The body rebuilds slowly and rewards patience. Second, the morning timing matters. Saliva is lowest in the morning, which means your enamel is most receptive to remineralization right after you wake. Apply the mix before breakfast, not after. Third, quality of lemon matters. Organic, unwaxed lemons only. Waxed lemons carry pesticide residue that coats the zest and blocks the active compounds. Fourth, never use metal bowls or metal spoons to mix. The baking soda and lemon react with metal and lose potency. Glass or ceramic only, just like my grandmother used. Now let me tell you the 3 mistakes folks make. Mistake 1, using lemon juice instead of zest. The juice is too acidic and it erodes enamel faster than any benefit can be gained. Zest only. Mistake 2, brushing too hard. I see this every week. Folks scrub their teeth like they are scrubbing a pot. The mix works by sitting on the teeth, not by force. Gentle circles, then rest. Mistake 3, skipping the recovery days. Everyday use strips enamel. 3 days a week, with saliva days in between, is the rhythm. And now, sister, I want you to hear something and hear it clearly. This is not about vanity. This is about walking into a room at 75 and not hiding behind your hand. It is about laughing with your grandchildren at the kitchen table. It is about the Sunday phone call where you hear the smile in your own voice because your mouth feels clean and strong. It is never too late. The body at 70, 75, even 80 still remembers how to rebuild. You are the driver of this body and always have been, and the small daily choices you make this week are the ones that give you your next 10 years of mornings in the garden. The teeth are a small thing, but a small thing that lets you show the world who you still are. Let me lock this in for you. The quiet reason teeth darken is stain molecules settling into thinning enamel, made worse by drying saliva. The 3-ingredient mix is baking soda, fresh lemon zest, and a pinch of charcoal with ground sage, made with warm water and applied 3 mornings a week. The 4 supporting habits are oil pulling, warm salt rinse, parsley after coffee, and mineral water in the morning. And the master principle is that your body still knows how to rebuild when it has the materials. If this helped you, tap subscribe so the next woman who needs this can find it. Share this video with your sister, your oldest friend, the one who has stopped smiling in photographs. And leave me a comment telling me which part surprised you most and whether you have a grandmother's remedy of your own that has stayed with you. I read every single comment on this channel and I answer as many as I can. The BoochBod link is waiting in the description whenever you are ready. Take care of yourself, my friend. The sage is still drying in the window and I will see you next time.